Hello everybody, welcome back for another video. Hope you're all having a great day and that you are all doing well. To start things off with the Bitcoin Cash hash wars stealing the show in the cryptoverse for the last week, we might have missed out on an important development in terms of blockchain technology being used to ease cross-border transactions. American Express, Santander, and Ripple have teamed up to speed up cross-border payments in the US and the UK's financial corridor. Many of us are aware that Santander has been using Ripple's xCurrent to power its OnePay FX payment platform that allows its customers in Spain, the UK, Brazil, and Poland to make instant cross-border payments. In the case of American Express, the credit card services giant confirmed it was using xCurrent during the Money 2020 event in Amsterdam earlier in this year. It is therefore only natural that the two firms would use Ripple's blockchain network of RippleNet to ease payments between the US and the United Kingdom. Initially, the service will allow for payments by American Express's business customers on its FX International Payments, or FXIP, to be routed via RippleNet to make instant, traceable cross-border payments to United Kingdom Santander bank accounts. Mark Gordon, Executive VP and Chief Information Officer at American Express, had this to say about the new service. He said, and I do quote, "This collaboration with Ripple and Santander represents the next step forward on our blockchain journey, evolving the way we move money around the world," end quote. Santander's head of global transaction banking, Jose Luis Calderon, said the following: "This blockchain solution opens up a new channel between the US and the UK and presents significant opportunity for payments globally." And Brad Garlinghouse said, "We've taken a huge step with American Express and Santander in solving the problems corporate customers experience with global payments. Transfers that used to take days will be completed in real time, allowing money to move as fast as businesses today," end quote. It's pretty interesting to see the companies that Ripple is constantly signing on. And I said this, I mentioned something similar to it before when I was discussing how, not Bitcoin's popularity, but how fast the crypto space is moving and how fast everyone seems to be jumping on board. Ripple as a company is maybe 3.5, 4 years old, somewhere around that time frame. And I think it's very interesting that they've managed to get companies and organizations like American Express under their belt, or to even consider using them and then to actively start using them is quite interesting. A lot of people, typically when I give news like this, a lot of people who, I don't want to say haven't done their research, but haven't really done their research, typically cry out in the comment section that they're using xCurrent and not the XRP token. That's because they cry out because they don't understand that you can also use XRP with xCurrent. And it's been one of the Ripple team's main things that they've said many times before, is that, or rather, they are able to have XRP be used during xCurrent transactions as well, which would also allow the coin to be used. But the fact of the matter is, the fact that they even have American Express and Santander as customers who are going to be using their product is already incredibly significant. So just a bit of good news to start the day off for everyone. Let's move on. It's going to be a bit of a two-parter. A lot of things have happened over the last 2 days, and you'll make a bit more sense as I move on. Point95 Global may soon launch a new cryptocurrency trading fund. Located in Shanghai, the digital asset management firm is working with an unnamed licensed asset manager in Hong Kong. The information was released a few days ago by China Knowledge. With this new private fund, Point95 will be targeting professional and other wealthy investors. They will be using arbitrage trading strategies in order to capitalize on buying and selling of related instruments, taking long and short positions in different markets. The company is already trading the 10 largest virtual currencies in the market, including Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, because, of course. Point95 is also trading these currencies with its own seed money of $3 million. The unnamed asset manager located in Hong Kong will be the fund distributor and in charge of the management. Apparently, the fund will start with $30 million under management. Regulations related to the cryptocurrency market are also becoming tighter in Hong Kong. The Securities and Futures Commission, or the SFC in the country, started requiring licenses for crypto funds to operate. Point95 Global's funds will be acquiring the new license required to operate in Hong Kong. Different countries are starting to impose regulations and the crypto amount. Okay, not that important to kind of read through the rest of it. First of all, the fact that there is a new crypto trading fund that is going to launch in 2019 in Shanghai is incredibly important. It's incredibly significant. We need more, rather, okay, I'll put it this way. If you believe that traditional finance getting into cryptocurrency is significant and therefore significant for the prices. This is something that should have set off a couple of bells in your head, simply because when we have things like this starting out and we have major countries announcing that these things have been able to go through or that they have been greenlit in some sort of way, this then opens the door for many other institutions to be able to get into the cryptocurrency space as well. Because like I said before, and the general idea behind it is that the first domino has to fall. Like someone has to get into the space. Nobody wants to be first, but nobody wants to be last. So the moment that one of these ends up getting launched and they see that the people who have launched them are making money on them, therefore everyone else ends up tumbling into the market, desperately trying to make the profits that the first company has ended up making. And on that same exact note, as I said, this is a two-parter. We have this news. The world's first crypto exchange traded product, and people are calling it an ETF as well, I'll explain in a second, is to start trading next week on Europe's fourth biggest exchange called the SIX Swiss Exchange, with a market cap of $1.6 trillion. A crypto startup known as Amon AG has been given the green light to list an index fund on a traditional stock exchange, with Hane Rashan, co-founder and chief executive Amon, stating, "The Amon ETP will give institutional investors that are restricted to investing only in securities or do not want to set up custody for digital asset exposure to cryptocurrencies. It will also provide access for retail investors that currently have no access to crypto exchanges due to regulatory impediments," end quote. Why this is being called an ETF is simply because it is an index fund, even though it is a product that is trading multiple different cryptocurrencies. Now, you kind of maybe get a little bit why it's called an ETF. I'm sure you can understand the significance as well of that. The fund tracks the biggest cryptos by market share and accordingly allocates assets. Currently, they have about 50% in Bitcoin and nearly 30% in XRP, which has recently overtaken Ethereum to the second position. They further list Bitcoin Cash, the ABC chain, I believe that is the original chain, and Litecoin, making this the world's first stock exchange listed fund to include XRP, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin. Here's a little chart there. They said after exploring this across 23 different exchanges and territories around the world, we settled on Switzerland. We believe Switzerland to be the best jurisdiction for our base and intend, after launching our initial products on the SIX Swiss Exchange, to both launch additional products as well as dual list cross additional geographies and stock exchanges. We plan on launching an index-based ETP first. It allows investors to simply buy the market rather than trade specific crypto assets, though we plan on launching specific trackers for each asset in the future too. I'm sure you understand the immense significance of all of this. They are the first in the world to list a cryptocurrency ETF. They are in Switzerland. They are not in the United States. The entire hype around all of this was that the US was going to be the first country in the entire world to be legally allowed, or rather their SEC was going to allow them to list the first, the fact that there was such a huge amount of hype around a Bitcoin ETF in the United States, and now we have a 5-coin crypto ETF launching in Switzerland, is incredibly ridiculous. A lot of people have been scrutinizing isn't the word. They've been more interested in how they chose the allocation for their funds. Typically what we've seen before in the past, especially if it is a cryptocurrency fund, they'll maybe list around 50 to 70% in Bitcoin. They may do around 10 to 15% in Ethereum. And then it's like XRP may get 2 or 3%. Bitcoin Cash is never usually even a factor, and Litecoin may get 1%, somewhere around there. It's like very like tight crunch once we get to the other altcoins. So the fact that they've chosen 30% for XRP is a clear indication of what's happening in the market. I told you guys before, there are 3 slices of pie here that are the biggest, and these are the ones that I am personally betting on for the future. The fact is, to make it short, this is incredibly significant news. And I can only hope that more people will start to pay attention to this, or rather that it'll have an effect on the prices in the market. Simply because there's been such a huge, how do I say this? Everyone's focusing on one landmass when the rest of the world is kind of moving on. and it still makes me annoyed. I guess I can't even say any other word after that. That the rest of the world doesn't pay attention to the other movements that are happening around the space, and everyone is focused on, especially when everyone is kind of just focused on like what's happening in New York. It's a little weird. Alrighty, let's move on. Next up, Ethereum-based decentralized organization known as Aragon has announced the launch of Aragon 0.6, the framework that allows users to create Aragon organizations on the Ethereum mainnet. Codenamed Alba, the new release aims to revolutionize the world of organization development on the Ethereum blockchain by altering a situation where the vast majority of over 15,000 Aragon organizations were running on the Ethereum testnet with no real-world impact. According to Aragon, the smart contracts forming the basis for Alba have passed through a series of security audits to confirm their readiness for the big time, and Aragon operating system, which powers all Aragon dApps, is now on version 4. To underscore the readiness of Aragon 0.6, it was further revealed that Aragon organizations such as Aragon PM and Survey app have been running on the Ethereum mainnet for more than 6 months. Through that period, no significant bugs were discovered, but in the interest of optimum user security, Aragon is running a bug bounty program on the mainnet. Aragon was one of the coins. It was Aragon. It was Algor. And there's other weird name coins. You know, no one uses the word Aragon in everyday speech. Therefore, it's weird to me. These were seen as the coins, or rather the platforms that were going to kind of launch Ethereum into the mainstream, but this was also a lot of, we had a lot of talk about this as the market was also booming. I can't remember exactly what the Aragon platform is. I think it's where you you make decentralized organizations and they kind of like run autonomously within themselves. And if you hold Aragon, I think you are allowed to have votes on the organization that has then been launched. It's something along those lines. But people thought that Aragon, it could very well still be. The fact that there's any Aragon news is very significant because there's never any Aragon news. But Aragon was seen as the place where people would be able to make like their own platforms and stuff like that. And then, it's difficult to say now because I think crypto has shifted a lot. And I was going to say a tiny bit, but I think it's a lot more than that. A lot of the main focused on decentralization and on organizations and on even like betting and stuff like that, as far as like Algor and like being able to bet on like world events and being able to set things like that has they've lost a lot of their spotlight. And I'm not 100% sure if it's just because of the not even a dip in the market, because of the market falling, or simply if it's because these platforms were never really going to take off. Like I can't really exactly say. Hopefully they get a bit more attention when the market ends up going back up again, whenever that might be. Simply because there are a lot of good platforms, and I feel really bad for a lot of the ICOs that launched. I feel really bad for a lot of the other tokens that didn't really have a chance to shine. So much of the focus right now is simply on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. Somebody asked me yesterday in the comment section, hello to you, why I didn't feel that a lot of the other altcoins weren't significant enough, or why I didn't think they weren't going to make it. It's not that I don't think that they're going to make it. It's that for what it's worth, Wall Street has a grasp on the market. Like all you have to do is kind of look at this graph right here. The cryptos that people in major finance think are going to win have already been chosen. And this is why generally, not even that I choose the news for the coins like this, is that they kind of choose themselves. Like when you look around for news and stuff like that, you're usually hard pressed to find news about Aragon or Orgor or Neo or BAT. Or there are thousands, like literally thousands of other coins at this point. The point is, I would like to see a lot of like this. Like when you talk about a use case, this is a coin and a platform that has an actual use case. Like Algor is a platform that has an actual use case. Like the Omise Go platform is something that has an actual use case. These are the things that I like to focus on, and I wish that they had a bit more of a thing. Like being decentralized, having a blockchain, or being able to be a payment system back and forth. That's not a use case anymore. You have to kind of really stand out, and I think things like this have a major chance, and I hope that they end up getting the spotlight that they deserve when the market starts going back up. I don't know exactly how they plan on marketing themselves. I've noticed that a lot of cryptocurrency projects are really good at developing these amazing ideas. But you need to push it out there. You need to market it to people. People need to know that your thing exists. Like, you can have the greatest thing in the entire world where people can make decentralized organizations on top of a network that's built on top of Ethereum. But if you don't let people know that it exists, how are they going to use it? Yeah, let's move on. So, not to end this on a doomy, gloomy note, somebody wrote yesterday in the comment section, hello to you as well. I can't remember the name of the account. They wrote that I'm constantly ending the videos on like a down note. I don't do it on purpose. I try to give like relatively good news in the beginning, but the market has not been doing very well. Perplexed, flabbergasted. These are the words that I would use when it comes to the entire cryptocurrency market. Over the weekend, we had an enormous amount of good news. Over the last 2 weeks, we had an enormous amount of good news. The only bad things that have really been happening, where is it? It's somewhere around, I can't even find the letters. Bitcoin Cash's hash war has been having a lot of people believe has been having a huge effect on the market, simply because there is far too much arguing going on between them. A lot of people, I told you guys before, when it comes to like heavy-handed investors, they don't like the idea that Bitcoin is even able to fork. And so when a fork of Bitcoin's fork allows people to essentially get more dividends from their, from their original investment, it devalues it. And it devalues it in that, I told you, if you have one of something and it's incredibly valuable and you wake up and there are 3 of them, and then you go to sleep and you wake up and there are 6 of them, and then the 6 of them end up giving, little smaller, tiny versions of themselves, and it continues on and on and on. The original one that was there is no longer as valuable because there are other ones. Like, regardless if you think Bitcoin Cash is amazing or not, the what is it called? The Bitcoin, I think it's SV, Satoshi's Vision. My goodness, the name of that coin. These things are devaluing the value of Bitcoin. And when this ends up happening, a lot of people, major investors, end up losing faith in Bitcoin, and therefore, at least momentarily, the value of Bitcoin ends up going down simply because there isn't as much hope around it. Ethereum hasn't had the greatest news. Like, Ethereum's news has been good. Like, we know that people are building on top of it, but there's been a huge bearish sentiment surrounding Ethereum for quite a while, especially over here, since we had the entire thing with XRP passing Ethereum, I think for the 3rd or 4th time. And typically what we saw before is that Ethereum was able to kind of regain its position, but it seems like Ethereum is not doing too well as far as like XRP has a very easy time when it comes to recovering. There's a lot of momentum around XRP. A lot of people believe in XRP. I actually, when I woke up this morning, I was pretty shocked. I was clicking around a couple of websites, and I hadn't opened up CoinMarketCap, and I was pretty shocked because yesterday XRP's price was 51 cents, and I reloaded the page, and it said 47, and I was like, okay, something's happened. So begrudgingly, I opened up CoinMarketCap, and this is kind of where we are. There hasn't been any specific news at the time of me making this video. I'll repeat again, I am in Europe, so therefore I am in the future compared to people in the States or in Canada. And at the moment of me making this, is incredibly early here. Woke up, getting ready to start my day. There's been nothing negative, like nothing as far as I can see. And this is why I said earlier in the video, I said I thought it was a bit weird that we had news about a crypto trading fund set to launch in Shanghai, and which is already, that should have pumped up the market a tiny bit. And now we have confirmation that the world's first crypto, not even Bitcoin ETF, is set to launch through the stock exchange that has $1.6 trillion in market cap. And the fact that they're not just even listing Bitcoin, but also the top 3 coins are going to be a part of it. And then the market kind of goes down. I really can't give you an answer anymore, and I'm pretty sure no one else can either. I was watching something on CNBC, and it was really interesting. They were talking about, it's funny when I watch CNBC, I do it to get like their take on the crypto news and see exactly what's going on, but to see a panel of people have really no idea exactly what's going on. No one knows what's going to happen. We have a lot of price predictions floating around for Bitcoin. People think that the price of Bitcoin could, and take this with half a grain of salt, could still potentially hit 50,000 by the end of this year. And their argument was that last year Bitcoin made incredible gains over the course of a 33-day period. So if we have some type of magic dust that ends up falling on us by the end of November, that is still possible for Bitcoin to hit all-time highs. I mean, it still definitely is. I don't know. Okay, what we've seen before, or rather, okay, I'll put it this way. The idea is when we get really good news, the market drops because the heavy-handed investors, the richest ones, try to push the prices down even further so that they can accumulate more in hopes of when the market does go back up, they've increased their positions even a tiny bit. Like even the idea is if Bitcoin is one day going to be worth $100,000, even being able to push the market down and acquire another half Bitcoin is still 50,000 profit down the road. No one knows. No one knows. No one knows. I don't know how else to really phrase it. I guess that's going to do it for this video. Should I find any other significant news that doesn't revolve around Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin Cash SV, yeah, there we go, fighting each other in the digital world and going Super Saiyan and stuff like that, then I'll definitely relay it to you guys. But as of now, it just looks like a normal Bitcoin drop that is affecting the wider market. I mean, at least, I don't know. What we saw before was at least that whenever Bitcoin would go down by 4 or 5%, the rest of the market was down by 16 to 22%. We've had like more rougher days than this. So the fact that everything isn't doing as bad, I still think the Ethereum drop has to do with the negative sentiment around it. Bitcoin Cash is Bitcoin Cash, but no other coin has really had any negative news. Sorry to end it on a doomy gloomy note. It's not really doomy and gloomy. I mean, we've seen drops like this before. I think it more affects people who are new to the market. This is why people keep asking how I remain so optimistic. It's because we've seen stuff like this before. Like I've been through the other major crashes. Certain days I get really frustrated because I just want the market to go up. And it may sound cheesy or corny, but I sincerely just want everyone else to make money. I get frustrated when you get frustrated that you're not making money. I know in my heart or in my mind that the market is going to eventually go up again at some point. So this is why I don't seem bothered, because these are just buying opportunities for me. Like the fact that Bitcoin is at, first of all, like a couple... Before I started making this video, I think Bitcoin was at 5,200. Bitcoin falling down means other coins fall down, which to me, my own personal opinion, means that I just have an easier chance of acquiring more of the coins that I want to get. But yeah, once again, I'm going to end it here. Hope you all have a great day, morning, afternoon, and or evening. Try not to let the prices get you down. I know it may seem a bit difficult at times. Go out, enjoy your life if you have to work. I'm not, okay, I was going to tell you to play a game or something like that, but you have to probably work. Thank you once again all for watching and or listening. And yeah, I'll talk to you all soon. See you.